Hi everyone, it is Saturday, April 18th, and I'm just here to cap off Aries season. I know I've not been talking a lot about Aries lately because I've been kind of like talking about COVID, and last week I did a little posting, and thank you to anyone who watched. And and it I was thinking about the music posting because it was took a lot of courage for me to post that little video, and how courage is something I often think about as being like an Aries thing, like the boldness and yeah, kind of like the exuberant self confidence and all those kind of, being rash and impulsive and grabbing things. And the fire signs really have that kind of quality to them. But Aries, especially because they're very fresh, they're the babies of the zodiac. And what I was thinking about was just how we like to crush courage and how we like to take joy and attack it. And how for Aries, who are those babies of the zodiac, a secret that a lot of Aries do carry is a secret feeling of inadequacy. And it's not something that I've kind of like talked about before, but it is part and parcel of the superpower of Aries because, whatever you have that is that kind of big power cell quality, that is your superpower, there's always the kryptonite aspect of it. And for Aries, it's that on the other side of that exuberant self confidence is these deep feelings of inadequacy that they can have. And I believe this is because we want to crush people who are as exuberant as Aries are, so they will have a lot of those early experiences. And because they are the babies of the zodiac, so they're really fresh. And if they come into a family that doesn't welcome them, or that doesn't speak their language, or has issues, then they can be that screaming baby in a crib that does not get picked up, literally and figuratively. And it can be very scarring for Aries because they are just, they've got this really fresh identity that is almost like that little baby duckling in Are You My Mother? Children's story, going around to every forest creature and asking, Are you my mother? Because it's like, who am I? What is my identity? And they're made of all of this fresh stardust. And it can be very much a big question mark for them to figure out in their lives. And they're not helped if they come into a very unwelcoming environment with people very different from them. So that sometimes is a bit of crap that Aries are carrying around, and that they do tend to hide because all of the other stuff is very true. They are very self confident and they are very, brash and bold and big and indefeatable and all that stuff. But they do, they can have that critical wound to identity, and it can happen very, very young. So when I was thinking about that, and when I had shared my little music video last week, I was thinking about how I don't sing very often anymore, and how I've gone through years of my life without music. And why does that happen? And I was remembering going through the actors training program at Dalhousie. It was a 3-year training program, and the second year was when we did musical theater. And when we all went to that first class, there was 13 of us, and we all had to get up and sing a song in front of each other. And everyone got up, and like, with the exception of a couple of people who had done like dinner theater and were really, really very self-possessed with their music prowess, we were all like, all of our voices were cracking, and some people were like totally like shoulders caved and looking at the floor. I mean, and this was a group of people in an actors training program who had just spent the previous year like in tights with each other, squirming around on the floor, pretending to be amoebas coming up of a primordial soup. So if those people could not get up and sing in front of one another, what hope does the average person have? And Lisa at the end of the class kind of did a debrief with us, asking us about, um, when was the last time you sang, and what was your experience, with singing and stuff like that. And a lot of people had the same story, which was just like, someone making fun of them at a Christmas concert, or a sibling being particularly ruthless, which siblings are the worst with each other. My sister and I were terrible to each other about our voices because we were both musical, and we could not stand to hear one another sing. It was like nails on a chalkboard. And I don't know what that is. I don't know why we want to, when someone is sharing that very, very vulnerable part of themselves, which is your singing voice. I mean, I can't remember what the statistic study is, but like a number of people interviewed would prefer to basically be attacked by a lion than to do public speaking. So imagine public singing. But it's just to say that even those people that, you know, are part of drama committee and spirit committee and the class clowns, and the people who would be most likely unwounded by early experiences shutting down their creative voice, are still very wounded and can stay shut down in that particular domain for many years, up to and including a lifetime. So I always say, if you can talk, you can sing, because it's, if you can use your vocal cords and you can make sound, then you can sing. But a lot of people just get shut down very early on. It's because you are so fragile when you are sharing your singing voice. And it made me think of Aries, because it made me think of just how fresh and vulnerable they are in that freshness. And then when you get hit, when you're sharing that kind of freshness, and you don't know what you're doing, just how scarring it can be. And it can bring up issues of inadequacy. And like for me, recording that video last week, I'm sure to a lot of you, I looked very comfortable, and my fuck, I should be. I've been singing since I was a child with my aunt and my sister, and, you know, writing songs since the age of 10. I did Royal Conservatory music training, singing for 8 years, competed in all the music festivals, won awards, was the lead singer of a band for 4 years, went through an actor's training program. And I still was like, that was a major act of courage for me to share that song last week. So it's just to say, if you have music inside of you, don't die with it still inside you. That's a Wayne Dyer quote, actually. It's don't die with your music still in you. And he's someone I've been watching in the quarantine. He was recommended by Debbie Adams, actually, from Newfoundland, and Aries. And you can find him on YouTube. I haven't found any actual videos. It's just audio with a static image. But he is wonderful. And Taurus is a natural teacher to Aries, although I'm sure there's a lot of you Aries who are like, I have a Taurus, blah, 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 and they haven't taught me a fucking thing. But the way that it's kind of like understood, or the way that was introduced to me, I think it was actually Linda Goodman who said, the sign after you always has a little bit of wisdom to impart, because they've gone through your sign before. And I always find that true of Sagittarians. Sagittarians are always teaching me something. Even the low grade Sagittarius, even the bad Sagittarius, are teaching me something. So I love that Wayne Dyer said that, and that I thought of it for you Aries today, because you know, we're all creative. Elizabeth Gilbert says that in Big Magic. It's not, no sign has cornered the market on creativity. And if you do have any inkling to explore a little bit of that in the isolation and the quarantine, then it might be nice to go back to something that has been shut down in you for a very long time. And if you find it obnoxious, me saying, you know, get creative, when all you're doing is managing to survive, my apologies. And I totally get it. I know that I'm very lucky to be able to have some playful time right now, and be re-exploring my music and so on and so forth, and that's not available for everyone. But if you do have it available, I would say, you know, just be very open, and don't let those early experiences with some asshole at your Christmas concert in grade 3 shut down a part of you that wants to sing. So that's all for now. I'll see you guys soon.